I am an avid learner. I love new perspectives, ideas, and being taught about new subjects. But I noticed that over time, I was becoming more accustomed to seeking any answers outside of myself rather than from within. Previously, I was very aware of my own inner voice. It was what guided me to paint and write and explore my interests and curiosities, and it wasn't reliant on sources outside of myself. But insidiously over time, I began following people on my social media channels and fell into the trap of consuming more than creating. I also began to notice that the first thing in the morning, I was reaching for my phone and reading the thoughts of others in the first moments of waking up into a new, fresh day, which was then filled with the opinions of others. And it may seem harmless, but these moments are pockets of time where you could sit with yourself, listen to your own voice, but I had pushed it out for the advice and notions of others. I subscribed to plenty of newsletters, listened to podcasts, and scrolled on social media, and by the end of it, my own mind was full of the concepts of others, but where were my own? When you reach a point where you cannot detangle your own thoughts from that of others, then you may have consumed a little too much from outside of yourself. We all lose when you lose yourself, because there's no one else like you, and never will be, with the ideas and experiences you have had. And if you don't allow yourself to know them and hear them, then you can't share them with the rest of the world, and we don't get that perspective. We all collectively make up the kaleidoscope of life, and without you, a certain colour or pattern cannot be formed, because something is missing, and that something is you. The reason I think that we go outside of ourselves for guidance is because we have tuned out our true inner guidance system and can only hear our inner critics. When the internal voice is only speaking in negative, judgmental, and critical tones, then there is nowhere else to seek support or advice other than outside of ourselves. Our own internal worlds are hostile towards us. But all the while, there is a universal energy that exists for all, that we all have access to, but we have to be willing to be open to it and understand that it's not the voice of the inner critic. This guidance is loving in nature, kind and compassionate. It may be asking you to make changes or do something you think is difficult, but it does not come in the voice of harsh criticism or negative judgments. It may come to you in sights, sounds, words, or ways very bespoke to you. It could be that you hear a lyric to a song that resonates with you, or you read a line in a book that feels like it's speaking directly to you. It doesn't matter how this guidance shows up. All that matters is that it exists and we all have access to it, but we have to be able to tune out the inner critical voice and the external voice of others. Can you think of a time when you seemed to know what to do without seeking outside assistance? It could be that you gained an insight that was the exact wisdom that you needed in that very moment, and it led you in the direction that was for your highest good. I remember a time when I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do for work, and I was healing from a health issue. I had felt down for quite a while, and I was guided from within to paint. It was like a gentle nudge to pick up a paintbrush and paint, something I hadn't done in a very long time, and something I had told myself I no longer did. I had distanced myself from my art for a long duration, and so it was quite a surprise when I felt pulled to go back and paint. I listened to that voice, that guidance, and I began painting again, and over time, that one move turned into a full-time career. There was no grand plan revealed to me. All I had heard that day, as I was in bed, was to go and paint, and so I did. There was no promise of anything further, just the nudge to go in that direction, and as I had felt so lost, it felt like a good idea to follow that advice, and so I did. And what came after was nothing I could have imagined. That's the guidance I am speaking of, and it's not something that is only assigned to a special few. It's there for everyone, and it's up to us individually to learn to practice listening out for it, to learn to turn down the volume on all outside voices and all internal critical voices, and allow something more expansive and wise to come up through us.